Hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Do 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 do. Oh boy! All right. Need to share the freaking link. Let's go. How's everyone doing? Hey yo, hello, 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 yo, yo, yo. Oh, you. It's a Saturday. Okay. Let's see what you guys got. Yeah, wrong channel, but it's okay. All right, let's see what you got, guys. We're gonna wait for 2 more minutes till everyone gets it. I'm being attacked by yawn trolls and sleepy fairies. All right, cool. Hey Nicola, hey Marco. Looks like we're gonna have a very small crowd today of very dedicated people. Hopefully people who completed their homeworks are here. All right. Still waiting for Julie to write down Michel stop here. By the way, guys, what do you think? There's a possibility I can add Midjourney AI to our Discord. Shall we do it or should we not? What do you think? What do you guys think? The remaining Vikings will have VIP access to Valhalla. Sure. But yeah, we're slowly dwindling on warriors inside our ranks. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Can somebody wake me up? Please. Right. Shall we start then? I ran a half marathon earlier. And yet this homework was even more brutal. you ran a marathon, and well, it's alright. You got this, dude. Alright, shall we? So today's feedback session is about our Color and Light Week. I'm just gonna go look over your frames and see what can be done better. Alright, Heiko. I like that you went with some green tones to complement the reds. Very comic book like style. The only thing that I might think of is that yes, it is a pretty good value range that you have behind this guy's head right here. Something's a microphone? Something with microphone, I think. I don't know. Can you hear me fine, guys? Is it only Palina that is experiencing troubles? Let me know. I sound fine. Okay, cool. Sorry, Palina, that's probably you. Yeah, no, all good. Make up your mind, guys. Sounds good here. Okay, so majority is fine. Good. Okay, let's just look at this in black and white real fast. Again, guys, when I'm feedbacking somebody's art, I'm not feedbacking just one particular person, I'm feedbacking everybody through the example one particular person. So listen up every time we are going to a new person, because you can learn and adjust some things for yourself. Right, let's look at black and white thing. The values are pretty good, right? I like them. I like them a lot. It's just for my taste. The background painting may be a little bit too noisy, so if we can simplify it, maybe. But let's just double check how it's gonna look if we but make the black wolf behind this dude a little bit brighter. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. So if usually the feedback is like 2 to 3%, I mean it's fine. So don't touch it. I just needed to see it for myself. But there is a little bit of concern that it is kind of getting a little bit too noisy in here. It's almost like if we removed this thing. I know you kind of want to, maybe foreshadow something. But for example, this, we look at the face right away here, right? And then here, it's a little bit distracting because there's so much detail here, right? So what you need to do, you need to make sure that your focal point is as clear as possible, because here, what we're looking is here and here, right? And then here, we kind of look here and here. But again, if it's a comic book, you have more time to process stuff and look at it for longer, so it's up to you. But if I was drawing this, I would have maybe had something in between, maybe like something like this, maybe. So it's like half in the shadow, so it's almost like both, but not really. Because I hope you agree that just from the black and white standpoint, if we just look at both of those paintings, this is how this one looks from far away, and this is how this one looks from far away, and then the focal point is much clearer here. So that's the only feedback that I can give you, honestly, on this frame. Everything else in there is pretty good. Yeah, I like it a lot. Contrasts are there. Of course, it's not realistic lighting in terms of everything, but it's a comic book page, so you've done it pretty well, I think. Maybe just, well, no, you're fine. All right, what about this one? Okay, cool. This one is a little bit trickier. Why? Because, oh man, why does Discord act this way? Stupid Discord. Doesn't let me copy, so every time I have to copy paste with a light shot app. So for example, here, let's look at the black and white thing. It's pretty clear. Actually, I like it in black and white more. It's almost like I would like to see something like he's getting out of the water, right? Just the colors that you picked for this thing overall are a little bit, in my opinion, I would say a little bit muddy. Well, it depends what kind of feeling you wanted to go for. If you wanted to go for like filthy something, then you wanted like his red shirt to pop out, maybe. But for me, first of all, I want to point out that control your detail, because you have lots of detail here, you have lots of detail here, here, and then here, and then here, right? So when you're looking at your painting, sorry, this is not really color feedback yet, but this is also important. You have to control your detail, especially in the comic book style. So what I would do probably here is, you know, you need to simplify something. You either need to simplify the foreground or you need to simplify the background so the foreground pops out a little bit more. So for example, here, what I would have done is maybe, just have one big shape, maybe, with a gradient in it, with maybe like less leaves in it. Same thing here, just to make it, simpler. So the detail pops out and it's not as distracting, maybe, again, or just make the contrast of that thing a little bit, just bring the values together so it's not so contrasty, because contrast attracts the eye. Right. Another thing that I might have done is just made more of a pop, because again, you're dissecting everything within the silhouette. Remember when I said that it's really bad when foreground, middle ground, foreground has all the value range? So for example, in this one you have your brights and darks and everything else, and then in the middle ground you have brights and darks and pure whites almost, and then in the background you have like almost pure black and almost pure white. So when you have that, it's really distracts the eye, in my opinion. So to fix this, we just need to maybe push the background a little bit further. And again, when I'm giving feedback and I'm thinking about this stuff out loud, I don't always know for sure. I know that something is wrong, and I'm trying to suggest to myself what should be done, right? And then I try it out, and that's how my process goes for myself, honestly. I look at a painting and then I see that something is wrong, and then I try to answer what is wrong. And then you say, maybe this, and you're not always right, and you always have to, you always have to try things out little by little. Yeah, another thing is shape design. I'll talk about it later, but I think it'll be useful for everybody to kind of hear it out, I guess. Man, too bad that the boy got erased, or the selection for the boy. Right, so what if we push the background into the background a little bit more? Right, they definitely read better, right? Doink, doink. I'm not sure about the color itself that we use here. I would maybe shift over everything. Like, I'm not sure why you chose the color green. Like, if this is a very intense moment, I would go towards maybe monochrome something in terms of greens. Just let's compare it. I don't know. Like for me, this is a little bit more, I guess, intense. Maybe I might be wrong. Again, this is your painting. This is just my suggestion. But another thing that I can give you a little cheat code, guys. So for example, when you do something in monochrome, so we have this painting in monochrome, we can change it around and see. Oh, I kind of like this actually. Or maybe something like this. I like that because it's kind of what you had, but it's still the night. It's still the night. But what you can do is you can technically, so for example, let's say I'm just gonna save this and then another layer and have this. So for example, this is one of our variations. This is our second variation, this thing, right? So what we can do is to make it less monochrome is we can copy it, make it another layer, set it to difference or exclude. I think exclude. Yeah. And then on top of that, copy paste it again. Set this to hard light. No. Overlay. No. Shade and shine. No. I forgot how to do it. No. Lighten. Hey. I think that worked. And then we duplicate this. So what this thing did, no, it didn't do anything. 1 second. Exclude, and then on top of everything, so there's soft light. Let's see if it did. So basically there's a way, darken color, no. No. Hey, is that it? I think so. No. But anyway, I'll need to remember it. I know that in Photoshop there's a way to inverse the colors just with a layer mode. Man, I forgot how to do it. But in Photoshop or in Paint Tool SAE, you can technically inverse the colors just with layer modes. Just for the sake of the experiment, guys, come on, let's hang out for a little bit. I want to try it one more time. Okay, exclude, yes, then we duplicate it on top. And then other, I think is it darken? No, it's not darken. Hard light, nope. Darken color, nope. Hard mix, no. Lighten, no. Screen, no. Dodge, no. Soft light. Soft light is a little bit better, but not really. It's supposed to exclude, no. Subtract, divide, hue. Man, I forgot how to do it. No, luminosity. Hey, we did it. It's luminosity. Okay, so let me duplicate this. So what we have now is we have a reverse colors of everything. Finally, I figured it out. So if you were wondering what I was doing, so when you have a layer, you can duplicate it on top. You can set it to exclude, and then you set the top layer to luminosity when you duplicate it. And then what happens is organically your colors are reversed. You are basically replacing all the worms with the opposite spectrum of those things. So we had two paintings here, right? So here we had a yellow, and then we reversed it to like a green or a bluish green. We had orange looking thing, it reversed to blue. So now what we can do here is we can, if we want to, we can erase certain parts, and then we can have, you know, we can have complementary colors on the other side, complementary to whatever is underneath. So for example, if I would have done this with an actual painting of mine, like for example this thing, we can do the same thing. So we're gonna have exclude, and then on top, exclude, and on top of it we do luminosity, or we do difference. No. Okay, 1 second. Tunk. Did I do it right? Subtract, exclude. Why is it not changing in luminosity? Yeah. Here it did the thing. Difference. No. Sorry guys, I am experimenting with you guys and I'm having fun. Subtract, divide, yeah, exclude, difference, no, not really. Interesting. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but for the most part it should work. Yeah, it replaced all of the orange colors with blue colors. I have no idea. Weird. Usually it worked for me. But basically in Photoshop file, what you can do is you can go into a layer mode, and I think it's called reverse or something like that, if anyone knows what it means. Oh, I think 3 different layers. Okay, let's see this. Exclude. Well, it does change some of it. Exclude and then luminosity. I don't know. Difference doesn't work. Lighten color, no. Darken color doesn't. Hard make. Pin light. Hard light. Soft light. Yeah. Exclude. That's the only thing that works. But for some reason didn't work for this shade. So let's just have another with a more bright version of this. So exclude or difference or exclude. What if I have illumination first? Luminosity first, and then difference or exclude, or like this. Okay. So what did it do? For some reason, it only changed the values of a highlight color to an opposite color. It did not change greens into something else. It changed the yellows and then the brights into something else. Okay. What if we exclude and then we put luminosity on top? Saturation, luminosity. No, I did the same thing. Lighten, subtract, no. Divide, no. Difference, no. Yeah, it only works with exclude. Weird. Interesting. Usually did work pretty flawlessly for me before that. Need to go double check again what I usually do. But the cool thing about it, what you can do now is you can have this layer on top, and then you can erase on top with like a with a noise brush. And what you're gonna get is you're gonna get complementary colors into your shadows and to your highlights. But here, for some reason, right, didn't do anything for the shadow side. And the only thing that it did is for the highlight colors and for, it's very interesting. Yeah, I'm not gonna take any more of your time, guys. But what you can do is with this trick, when you actually have the layer mode, or in Photoshop, you have actually a button. I think it's called reverse the local colors or something like that. So what you do is you replace all of your warms with cools and cools with warms. I'm not sure what it's called in Photoshop. And what you can do is you can have 2 versions of it, and then you can erase on top of it. But getting back to the feedback, I don't really like the greens here. They're like pukish weird. Unless you want this scene to be a little bit disgusting, maybe. But I would do something more dramatic and more moody, and probably more monochrome, depending on what you want to do. But another thing, I would separate the values for them, because if we turn this into black and white, he really gets a little bit lost in the background. Of course, maybe you wanted a little bit more darkness here and there, but still, in terms of value range, you need to have more separation. But overall, it's pretty good. All right, and then this one, I think this one is good. Just, I know you've been probably rushing some of the things here and there. I really liked it. This panel overall, but keep your details in check. So whenever you don't need details, don't keep, and then keep all of the details when you need to. Another thing is, keep some of your shadows sharp. Like for example, here I'm pretty sure we could have maybe like a sharper shadow somewhere. In terms of shape design here and there, in terms of that, you could have, gathered some reference and looked at the shape of their faces and made you know, more defined shapes on their faces, so they look more interesting. And then you could have maybe, yeah, I think, well, this is a black hoodie, so it would probably absorb a lot of light. Yeah, for the most part, this is pretty great. You know, the only thing is for highlights, I always like to add a little bit of a, you know, snow that is near the character or in front of the character, so I can see where all the detail is. But again, you have a lot of detail. It looks pretty good. So good job, very nice. I love what you do. The only thing is, yeah, Heiko, separation here. If you still want to keep it in the greens, and that's your conscious choice, again, I'm not here to influence you. Maybe the green means something to you, and this doesn't look bad to me. It was pretty dramatic and cool. I just think the read could be a little bit better, but overall really cool. Oh, also shape design. You have a lot of, again, see here, fluffiness, detail, and then the wolf he's a big fluffy detail, especially with the tail itself. So again, try to manage your detail economy in your painting. Don't oversaturate it with a lot of detail here and there. Like even in your original sketch, the value separation was a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, good job, very nice. I like this story. Very cool. Questions, if there are any. Answers in previous lecture, please just skip. How not to change the value during coloring. What color can you use for gray things such as raccoon and armor? Okay, let's look at this. So hopefully it will let me copy pasted it. So let's have a raccoon, right? So this is an interesting one. Because when you have a color white or gray, it's gonna take on a lot of the local color of the sky, right? So for example, when we have a lot of blue sky here, what's gonna happen is his fur is gonna be crazy reflective to the bounce light of the sky. So especially where all the white planes are facing up, he's basically gonna be blue. Because the skybox, see, like this is already looks like he is in the in the environment itself, right? Because when you have a white color turning away from the light source and it's in the shadow, it's white color is really good at reflecting light and then taking on the light of the surroundings. So for example, if he was surrounded like by green bushes all around, his fur is probably going to be very green. If he was surrounded by, see, blue sky in the shadow, the top planes that are facing towards the sky are going to take on that. And then with the gray color, it's going to be the same thing, but not as intense. It's still going to be tinted somewhat, somewhat blue-ish, but not as much. Same thing here. Like maybe over here, when you have, purely facing up planes, you can have a little bit of more of a blue hue, especially around like here maybe. Yeah, so just look at this and that, and then yeah, something like that. Sorry. Yeah, and then just make like over here when you have the occlusions, maybe you can make the occlusion a little bit more here. Or what I would have added here, I would added some, I would say, well, no bounce light yet. Another thing that you have to pay attention to, that, well, your values. So for example, this shadow is pretty far away, but you have it pretty dark. So then there's no separation between this and that, as you can see. Now this guy's in the foreground and she's in the background, right? But overall, it's really nice guesses that you did, and you did have a really nice value range, it's really easy to paint over on top of all of this because you are on the right track, just need a little bit of a push. And then if I was painting this, I would have just did a bunch of, I call it fake bounce light. I would just add it, you know, some yellows here or there, just to make it more interesting. I know it's an impossible bounce light, but you know, people will not question it if it technically could be in the scene. There's nowhere for the bounce light to, you know, bounce from here. So I would, you know, draw something out there, but overall pretty good. Here it's the same thing, right? So the light is coming from the back. I gotta tell you only one thing: you lost a little bit of local color in your whatchamacallit, in your grass over here. So I'm gonna tell you this grass would have been much darker when it comes going to the foreground, and much colder also in terms of the values, right? So it probably would have been something like this here, and same thing there. It would have been much darker, and then when it comes to here, that's where it would have still maintained its green local color here, and then here, but at the same time, the guy in the foreground would have been much, I think he would have, again, because we are shooting into the light itself. So if we shoot into the light, we expose either for the light part or for the dark part, right? If we're exposing for the light, so right now we see the background and we're exposing for it. You know how camera is. So if you want to see what exposure is, go place your camera into a window and then try to focus on the light itself. What's going to happen? The entire room in front of your camera is going to get darker. But if you're going to look in the window itself and focus on the window, or you're going to, yeah, that's going to happen if you're going to expose for the light. But if you're going to export for the shadow side and you're going to click just on the inside of the room, what's going to happen with the light of the window? It's just going to go crazy. So for example, if you want to have this value range, then the light itself would have been like, it would have been something like this, right? It would have been all over the place because you would have been exposing for that. But since you are showing light itself, the thing is going to be much darker for sure. I'm not sure what's happening behind. Like there's like a huge, you know, version of Scary Him gets out, I guess. So I would have, you know, added some indications that it's a raccoon and you can see it, maybe like something like this, because I did not know it was a spirit of his. And then here, I know it's a little bit rougher and you're still working on it, but again, you even with the light, you would have had a few, you know, there would have been areas of him that are lighter and darker. So even if the light is shining, you're gonna have dark spots and then light spots. I would just, you need to probably redo or reblock in this thing, just so it's easier. You have a nice underpainting, I guess, but there still would have been dark spots here. And then for the light to actually shine, it's not, you know, it's not enough just to have a warm color on top of everything, right? You still need to have some highlights within the light so it actually, you know, shines. And another thing, guys, that you need to understand, for something to glow or shine, you need to have the value range for that. So for example, with this painting, what I would have done is I would have just made it much darker. Maybe not even with a multiply, just a normal layer, and set it up to like something like this, right? So now you have enough value range to then start bringing out different things in the painting, right? So you can start bringing in where the light hits him, and then here, here. Now you have the value range to make things shine, right? Because you have enough of the darkness to get to show that he is lit by, let's say, a torch in here, right? Yeah, same thing here. Sorry, I don't have the time to properly paint over this thing, but you understand what I'm talking about. Because here, yes, you have, oh, it's actually just my paint over. Here, yes, it's shining, but it's just, you know, it's like, have you seen bad color graded movies? It kind of looks like this. So make sure that, you know, I know this is kind of scary, but he would have had light. You know, if you want to make him kind of scared, you can be like something like this, you know. Yeah. And then again, if it's grass around them, you know, the grass would have changed the color to the color of the light. And again, the grass, even though it's gonna be shined on by a torch, it's gonna maintain a little bit of its local color. Maybe this is a little bit too bright. Then we need a little bit more of a fall off of the grass into more dark shades. But you know what I'm talking about, right? And let's just have a little bit of warm on top. Whoops. To bring it all together. Yeah, and another thing is you need to make sure that your silhouettes are read good when you're doing this. So for example, this is a pretty weak silhouette that really whatchamacallit, it merges with the shadow, right? So I would have made something like, you know, something that really pops and then you can actually see it. I don't know. So yeah, you have to think about your silhouettes, because this is okay. I'm not sure if they see them or not, but you know, think about the silhouette that you're gonna use there. And if you want to hide it, if you want to hide the silhouette and that was your intention, you know, then maybe, you know, mask it like this or something. Then maybe they're slowly gonna be like, you know, devoured by something. It's like, yeah, but you get the gist, you know. Yeah, maybe the tree itself is the silhouette, but or if you wanted to hide it, then hide it more. So if you really want to hide and you want to make sure see that this is a surprise for them and they're all alone, right? Something like this, you know, then maybe just reveal, you know, a few eyes here and here and here, maybe with red, for example. Yeah, so this way it's something like this. So let's see if we made it worse. Yeah, I think we made it a little bit better. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Good job. Overall, very nice. So hopefully I answered your question. What color I can use for gray things? Or couldn't answer that. How not to change the value during coloring? You cannot change. You cannot not change the value. You always will change it. So you need to always bring it back. In terms of your color balls, I'm not gonna feedback them because it was extra, but they look good. And what is this? It's not loading. Trying, like, guys, please don't download things or upload things that are like 10 million things by 10 million things. Is that another artist? Oh yeah, that's Owl. Okay. That's the guy. Okay. Okay, let's go. We're gonna be here for a while, guys. So first of all, good job on not tempting and doing what you did to your best ability. Trying and failing is good. So now just, how big are those files, man? They're still loading. Okay, copy image. I'm just curious, man. They're not that big. I don't know why. All right, so here's 1. And here's 2. Didn't load all the way through. I'm using some kind of like chromatic aberration when you're doing things. So first of all, what I need to do is, you did diffuse lighting kind of pretty good in terms of blocking, but this is not painting. It's like more comic book style, and also it's very, very muddy. Like for example here, right? Very, very muddy. I have no idea what's going on. I know that you try to do the the underpainting with blue and all of that stuff, but when you are creating a time of day, go on Google and then say like beautiful city sunset, for example, and let's just, I'm not gonna do a beautiful painting, but I'm gonna show you how you need to tackle it. So for example, let's say here's something that you wanted to do for the purple one, for example, right? Something like this, right? So have your reference ready, and just start, blocking in your scene. So what is the context? The context is the sky, right? And at least in the environment, I usually start with a skybox to understand where to position all my things in, right? So I would just do this, and let's just delete this and just delete that, delete this, and you know what? I'm just gonna copy paste it into the thing itself, just so you can understand, right? So now I know this is a little bit rough, but I can always do this. So now I have my context, right, in the scene. I know that it's gonna be a sunset-ish thing with blue stuff, right? And the sun is somewhere behind. So now what I can do is actually put the rest of my environment into the context, right? Because I know that the sun is somewhere over there, right? And then now what I can do is I can, paint in, maybe lights into here where it's gonna be there, or maybe maybe there's gonna be no lights in there, but you did have a shadow over here, so that means you want the lights to be somewhere from over there. So why not have it shining from over there? Then maybe a little bit, as you said yourself, maybe a little bit here. You did think about the right things, you just did something wrong. So right now I'm showing you how I usually approach it and how I usually do it, right? So doink, let's maybe do something like this, maybe. Yeah, I know this is not perfect, but let's just compare it to your painting, right? So yeah, think about your context, your local colors, about your darks and your brights, and have a reference. So for example here I have a reference on the left. I understand how the shadow side is going to look like, how everything else is going to look like, and yeah, and then here again, like for example guys, just remember what I told you. So this green color is now in the context, right? So now all I need to do is add the color of what? Of the sun to it. So it's kind of reddish, greenish. So what's going to be the in-between color of this? The green is going to be going towards reds. What are we going to have somewhere in the middle? Is it going to be something like this? No, this is not right. Is it going to be something like this? No, not right. What about this? Closer. What about this? Maybe a little bit redder. What about this? Maybe a little bit redder. Maybe too red. Perfect, right? So now what I can do is, by thinking about this in the back of my head, I can have an accurate color of the trees or their local colors. They're going to be hit by a bright red something. right? Same thing with the roof. The roof is already red, so red on red is gonna be just, you know, double red maybe. So like bring the local colors of this thing in. Yeah, and it's the same mistake for, you know, for everything else that you did. You're not really thinking about, and maybe you did it pretty fast. So I do applaud you that you did so many frames. But for the time of day, just really use reference and just simplify everything into, you know, simple squares, and then try to, you know, light up the square in the lighting itself. But you're doing great. You're doing great, little by little. Right, so same feedback for here, right? I don't know what the reference was for the lighting there. And you know what, I want to add some clouds in there because I like adding clouds. Just a little bit of here, you know. Anyways, you get the gist. All right, so same thing here, man. Like, where's your lighting coming from in this image? I like that you have kind of nice values in terms of that the guy pops because you made him the most contrasty thing, right? But is he like, where's he lighten up by, and how? Is he lighted by the blue sky and he's in the shadows? Like, what is going on in this painting? Like, what's the references in this thing? So if I was doing this, I would have just made something like, you know, a little bit like this, just to make things, you know, separate into the background. And then like what is his coat? Like his coat, yes, you made a little bit of shading here and there, you know, but if I was doing this, like, what's the local color of the coat? You know, so it's kind of like what, reddish, something like this, right? And is it a diffused lighting that is hitting the guy? Or is it like regular sunlight? So if you're gonna have this, like, define the form of the thing, you know, and then like over here you're gonna have probably, you know, more desaturated things. And then like his nose, is he gonna have, you know, a shadow underneath, or is he not gonna have a shadow underneath? Like, what about his eyes? Does his eye have a shape? Does his face have a shape? Is it half of it in the shadow? Like, again, you need to simplify everything. So if this was a ball, right, just separate everything to super simple shape. This was a ball, how would it, you know, how would it interact with the environment? Is the lighting from the top? If the lighting is from the top, that means at the bottom he's not gonna have some light, right? If there's some sky, maybe he's gonna have a little bit of fill in between, right? And then we need to bring back his hair, right? His hair is gonna cast a shadow, right? On top, his hair is gonna bring some, maybe more light in there, right? Yeah, and then for example, like his bicycle's you know, thing is gonna reflect the light of the, you know, of the sky, right? And if it reflects the light of the sky, it's going to be something like this, and maybe there's going to be a little bit of the road reflecting it, maybe a little bit of this and that in there, right? So etc, etc, etc. So you just need to practice, you know, studying real life more, and then simplifying everything to simple shapes, and this way you'll really understand how to do all of that. I'm going to tell you this: you are on the right track in terms of where the line is coming from, and you're, you know, I can see that you have a feeling, but you just don't have the training yet and the knowledge, and it will come later on. But good job, very nice. Yeah, it's gonna be a long session, man. All right, Igor, Flam, let's look at this. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, come on, stupid Discord, let me be. Copy. All right. Hey, holy crap! There's a big file. Boink. All right. So first of all, good job. I can see improvement. I can see that you're thinking about the right things. I'm gonna tell you the same thing as I told you everybody else is, first of all, values. Secondly, to make something glow and everything else, you need to make sure that you know, you have enough of a value range to make something pop. So for example, as you can see here, I'm pretty sure it's a night scene outside, and you want to make everything as dramatic as possible. So for example, if you want to have his, you know, super cool blaster, you know, blasting pinkish purple, you know, make sure that, as you can see, there's enough value range. So just by, you know, just by making it darker overall, what we're doing here now is we can have the light start revealing different things. So for example, here you can now have what? You can have rim light from the gun, because you're using the gun as a source of lighting, right? Here, 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 right? It goes kaboom. And then you can have the creature itself shiny now, and then we're gonna look within the silhouette of the creature, right? And that's another thing. It's where do you want the viewer to look at? Do you want to make it look inside of a silhouette or outside of a silhouette, right? So for example, like this, we're gonna look exactly into the silhouette when he is you know, blasting away. And then maybe the girl can have a little bit of the light on the back of her, for example, running away. One thing that you need to train for sure is gesture, because it looks like, you know, it's like they're from Toy Story, or they're like puppets, and they basically go, they're like, oh no, danger, let's run away, right? Because the thing is, when we are, let me see what I'm doing on the VS. So when we are running, we're running with gesture. It's not just not like this. It's not a robot, right? When you're running, we'll have different interesting flowing lines, and then if you wanted to make it dramatic, so for example, for the guy here, right? Maybe they are holding hands, but I would have made her hand maybe go like, maybe like this, or be kind of like. Another thing is like her facial expression is a little bit weird. I know that you're trying your best, and you're doing great. It just needs a little bit more, you know. Like I would have maybe made her half turned or something, and she like, I don't know. Maybe she's gonna be looking like, oh no, because she kind of needs to look at the thing too, you know. She's gonna be like, ah, you know, and then running away. Maybe, I don't know. It's a really complex painting, man. Another thing that I would have done here, I really like how this looks for now. It's a little bit too late to fix it from the scratch, but you're doing pretty good at the moment. You know, let's see if we can maybe make the relationship between the main protagonist and the creature a little bit more special, just by adding maybe a little gradient from the light that is shining from the building, maybe. And another question that I have, did the creature burst from the building and then it's like going towards them? Because if it did, you can add like, you know, shattered glass, for example, and it's gonna be like it went towards them. But if it went towards them, see, another thing that a lot of people encounter is when they're beginners, they're used to painting everything facing towards them, even though the creature is trying to face them this way. So technically the creature needs to be turned. And it's not too complicated for me to paint over, but if you wanted to make the creature should have been turned, you know, this way, and actually was looking at them, you know, like this, because now he's in perspective and now he is turning in the right direction. He's actually going towards them, right? Versus he's just, you know, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's about this one. For this one, same thing, you know. You want to have some glowy effects, make the value range for all of that so it's actually glowing, right? Because in your previous ones it's not really glowing, so you really need to make an extra effort to make sure that it is glowing and make everything darker around it, because if we don't have darkness, nothing's going to be glowing. This one is pretty good. I like it. Just, you know, maybe make it balanced. I would just move this guy here. So it's more balanced because, well, why there's nothing here? I don't know. Why not just move this guy here? But yeah, but overall pretty good. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, very nice. Okay. You wanted to have the progression to become more and more in blue. I don't think you, again, not enough frames to show the progression. You need to show everything as good or as good as possible when you can. Yeah, because all this grays just looks a little bit weird to me. Not very aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, but overall really good. Okay. Ananasco. The idea was to convey fear and danger at all. It's really fun to draw these flying spheres. Okay, cool. Right, come on in. Something, 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 something. Uh-oh, an angel. Okay, the color palette turns red, more dreadful. The guy is light up like this. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, cool. I like it. Some time of day exploration. Super cool. Love that. And spheres are pretty nice. Yeah, good job. I'm not sure if you're gonna keep everything this comic book style, like, or you're gonna you know, actually paint everything. But as the you know, as an underpainting, this is pretty good. I like the subsurface and the ears. You know, of course you need to populate your shot with maybe a few things here and there. So again, I like that it's naked to the bones, but you know, maybe just have a little bit of detail in there so it's not so boring. It's interesting in terms of that the angel is there and you know she's all tied up and stuff. But yeah, overall really nice. There's nothing I can add to it that you know your scene, and your scene is pretty same color aspect wise because they're just standing in a doorway. But I really like the camera positions that you chose. The only thing that I might say that, you know, in this shot when she's just opening her eyes, I just want to see more of a, you know, dread, fear, horror, and that she's not really, you know, that she's really captured and not really enjoying this. Because right now she's like, oh, I just woke up, what happened? So there needs to be like, eyes are super powerful. And yeah. You know this painting, but what's her name? Yulia something. She won artillery's last competition. She has those angels that are buckled up to like a heating unit in like a crummy apartment, and with their wings tied up. So you can just get some reference from that. But really nice. Nothing to say, honestly. Yeah, so thank you for doing such a great work, so I don't have to feedback it. Right, Katya. When I was about to draw a raining frame, the forces left me, so only day, evening, sunset, and night. It's okay, it's alright. Really like the night shot. Let it download. Maybe is my internet okay? Yeah, it's fine, I think. Yeah. There was a little bit of drop frames, but we're fine. I really like the night shot, nice and cool. I see you've been drawing a little bit of the multiply on. Yeah, super great. I like your style. It's really similar to how I paint with a hatch work. Same with this one, super nice. The only thing that I like, if I want to be nitpicky, is maybe some cast shadows over here or cast light over here. That's so good. Yeah, also this is pretty good too. Nothing to say much about it. Very nice. Good job. Thank you for making me happy. Alright, Bulchka. Color is my weak side, but I tried. This week's lecture are golden for me. I'm gonna rewatch them until my brain clicks in the right position. Hey, good. Okay, this is before lecture. I'm just curious. Maybe my lectures do help some people. Before lecture 20. Okay, cool, got it. It's not bad. Not bad at all. After lecture 20. Let's see if there's any difference. Ho ho ho. Do, 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 do. I think you forgot to color one color ball over here. It would have been a little bit darker. Okay, I see some improvement. Cool, nice. All right, what about this one? Yeah, those are not bad. Not bad at all. I really like them. Those are nice color, color swatches. I like the skybox. I like the temperatures. I can tell you this, that I see that you just blocked it in and you need to think about it more. I'm not gonna tell you anything because I think you got this. Like, you gotta figure this out. There's one thing that, like for example, if your hair here is a little bit too saturated for my taste, but for the most part, and maybe like the shadow on this guy, make him cover half of him, so it's actually like overlap on top of him. But you're on the right track. Okay, one thing that over here, that this bear didn't read like a bear on a silhouette wise. I thought this was a rock, so make sure that you maybe shine some light on his nose, have some, or maybe it is, I don't know, but make sure that the silhouette reads better of the bear lighting wise here, because as I understand, the girl is like, come on, like if no one knows, Misha is always the name of bears in Russian folklore, so she could be like, Misha, stop, he can bow or something. But you need to make sure that you make the connection composition wise between the girl and the head of the bear. Yeah, but you're on the right track. Just push some more. All right, Julie, keep center done. Cool, nice. I like the suntan of this guy, super cool. The lighting is kind of like, it's not very an actual direct lighting. It's kind of like diffused, overcast sunlight, I think. Yeah, there's not much direct sunlight on those guys. That's what explains the not very bright skin tones. The only thing I can tell you, maybe, that the shapes of this, it's a little bit too bright and too much, to the point that this starts distracting from this. So maybe just make this a little bit simplified, in my opinion. But it's good. It's not bad. Not bad at all. Here it's interesting. So when we're thinking about volumetrics in the sun or in the water, I'm gonna tell you one thing, that from far away, what can you see? Nothing, right? So I would have been more, first of all, the volumetrics of the rays, they're not gonna be so direct. They're gonna be scattered like this, going through the water. Same thing here. I really like that you made the light not go behind this guy to make it volumetric. And this is a really weird creature. I'm not sure how it looks. Yeah, it looks something like this, but it doesn't look threatening. And then here it looks. Is this thing's like his, what do you call it? Is that you know, if this is the fish, is that the thing here, Julie? Is that the little light bulb thing, and then the mouth is here, and that's what this thing is? I just need to actually understand a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not sure. So, but if it's the creature itself, this looks very unthreatening. Yeah. So another thing, like what I would have done is I would have had more contrast for the dad, or for the husband character. You know, just you can really, you know, pop him out in terms of light in here. Maybe not so much, but still that there's another thing is like I had like a painting like this long time ago. Where is it? I need to go to my Instagram and show it to you. Where is it? Of a person actually, you know, drowning in the water. My internet is not very fast today. Yeah, this one. Oh man, my skull hurts from the earphones. Okay. Yeah, so see, like here the gesture is a little bit more defined. Here he's just like, you know, he's like, meow. But the thing is, like, why is he drowning? So if he's drowning because he lost, you know, he's, I don't know, conscious or something. So what I would have done in this painting, I would have connected it more with the creature, you know, that the creature is really, you know, the creature is really, really drowning him and pulling him down, you know. So the water is really, really deep and scary, and then there's a little bit of hope on top of it, somewhere like here, right? And the dad is like, something like, maybe, you know, this is just me experimenting. I might be wrong. But he's like super far away. Something like this maybe. You know, or if you really wanna make him the same, you know, same composition, you can have it something like this, you know, it's kind of like, no, you know, it's doing something like this, or something. Yeah, I don't like straight vertical lines, so I'll just do something like this maybe. Still looks wrong, I don't know why. Something like this maybe, and then the creature is holding him like this maybe. Then you can actually have, if you want to, you know, some things in here. If you want, you can make him like super small, you know. He's like something like this. It looks like he's drowning with that one of those, you know, foam fingers. I'm your number one fan. um, yeah, it's really tricky value range to make sure that he's not. Yeah, and also you have a very interesting combination of green. I would maybe, you know, maybe just a little bit of blues maybe, but I really like that you had this weird looking, almost like like a mask looking thing. So what you can do is you still have this mask looking thing in there. I'm not sure if it's a mask or anything else. I'm not sure if it's screaming or I don't know what exactly it is doing in there, but it looks like it's part of the, you know, it's part of the creature, right? So maybe you can just, you know, have it very in the distance. And if you want, maybe you can have, you know, I'm not sure if it's like, oh, those are like faces of his emotion or something like that. But if you want, you can have, you know, multiple of those, kind of, you know, creating this interesting rhythm. Drowning him down. Maybe. You know, this is just a... and then maybe here you can have, you know, one... you know, giant mask maybe on the creature itself, or of multiple one, but this one is going to be kind of like very hidden and in the background, you know, something like this. Let's see if we made it worse. Yeah, it's just a little bit clearer, because if it's just one mask, it's like it's kind of weird, because it's just one spinkadoodle. And then like over here you see that this thing is made out of those things, you know, and it's kind of like luring him down or something. And then there's like a giant thing later on. There's 7 of the max, so I can definitely play with the composition. Yeah, because it's just like just one thing. I'm not sure if this yeah, this is my brushstroke. Yeah, and like definitely like bubbles. We need to have bubbles. Yeah, then also have bubbles, you know, in the foreground too. So there's depth, even though you have a pretty empty space in terms of like it's water, but you know, even in the water, just have some things in the foreground to play around. Yeah, and then okay, then there's this one. Pretty cool. Crap, special stupid Discord. Let me be, please. Right, this one, I really like it, you know. But something is wrong. I like the rim light. It's really nice. composition is pretty cool, but that's one thing that people get sometimes, not wrong, but it's really hard to make is glowing things. So I would, if I were you, again, I would have made it darker, something like this, and then I would have started, making the highlights happen. So, maybe there's one thing that is glowing here, and there's another thing that is glowing here. See how much more glow there is when we have more dark spaces to play around with. For example, I'm not sure where the eyes are. I think those are the eyes. Yeah. So if those things are gonna be, glowing. And I know that you had like masks in there. I just, it's really hard for me to figure out that's how it's gonna look like. But maybe I would have even done something like this, so there's not too much attention to the glowing eyes. And for the most part, the main attention is gonna be like on the guy here. So maybe I would have made a fake light in here on the guy. Like, remember when the things are shining on something, just so his face is the main focal point, right? So then like maybe the teeth in here. You know what? I would not even make the teeth the main focal point. I would probably even put the teeth in here. Like this, behind all of this. So this guy is a more of a, maybe some of them I would reveal. Maybe on the top ones, only the top ones, right? But also there's something that it's missing in here, so I'm not sure what it is. I would probably maybe, because the thing is, like, this guy is pretty, let's see what I would have done. Okay. Doing. Yeah, I would definitely maybe make the eyes a little bit more into this thing. And maybe I would like, I would have made like a vortex, maybe, of water, trying to suck him in, Like, the whole thing is just trying to, maybe not, I don't know. See, it's a complex painting. Even I have to think about it. Maybe I would have made moved the guy to a foreground for extra depth. Let's just see how it looks. Just paint him in. Or made him smaller. Yeah, it's a very, because see, the thing is, you're making out of the shape of him, you're making an arrow. Because he's an arrow itself. Like, I would have thought like of something like of this, like, terrified. Like, if I was swimming, I'll be swimming like this. I wouldn't be like la 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 la. I would be like, oh my god, I'm about to be consumed by an evil thingamajig. So I would definitely, you know what? We're gonna do this. Let me do this. I would do definitely something like this, maybe. You know, I don't have the time to, you know, sadly, to paint everything over. But I would definitely change his silhouette. Or I would have made, you know, his silhouette something like, you know, something like this, trying to escape, you know. That is, he's super small compared to this giant fish, you know, and he's moving towards the camera, not away from the camera, but he's like trying to move away. And this way it's very going to be framed, because versus when you have this guy is like turning away from the fish, but here we're going to be centered composition, and then this fish is really, you know, looks very threatening to us, and this guy is really trying to escape. He's just, you know, he's just swimming away from this thing as this thing is like, you know, vortexing him in. If you want to do that with like bubbles, maybe you can do interesting looking bubbles going in. Yeah, another thing like I would have done maybe in here, I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe like some tentacle looking things that are still trying to pull him in, you know, and they're laughing at him or something like that to make more of a connection. Or maybe would have even, you know, made the glowing things, you know, into the faces that are, you know, currently, you know, laughing at him. You know, this way you're gonna connect the entire thing that it's a fish with the faces on, and they're all laughing at him. Something like that. Sorry I couldn't. It's a really complex painting. I just don't want to spend 2 hours painting over it. But you're doing a really good job, and it's a hard diploma. So, but yeah, I think make the silhouette just, you know, emerging. So it's just, you know, everything is like this, and then for this painting, you know, just connected with the creature itself, so it's not so empty. And then with your first ever thingy, you know, make the waves simpler, because right now you have a lot of white that is really bright. Just by covering it away and just making it a little bit more simple, the focal point is going to be clear. But overall, very nice. Yeah. All right, Marco. Okay. Cool, stylized, dramatic thing. It's a little bit, maybe a little bit too dark for my taste. I would, you know, I like it. It's pretty nice. Man, it's like should we have a emoji on the server like this? Yeah, you are missing on a really cool opportunity that you are capitalized on in here. I really like this super dramatic thing that you have here. So I would, you know, I would emphasize more of those shapes on those darks. You know, it's really cool. But another thing is, like, I would have emphasized and, you know, made it really stylized in terms of, like, you know, that those guys are, you know, they're like these shapes that really read as something, you know. And I would have spent more time on shape and explanation what those things are in terms of detail, so people can understand that those guys are like travelers or something. But you can really emphasize, you know, this desaturated versus saturated with those guys. Oh, well, you're kind of doing it with the crystal then. Okay, but again, explain a little bit more what is what, because right now it looks like trees, so maybe add, like, you know, branches here and there. And again, like those are rocks. If those are rocks, you know, simplify them. Why are they distracting from those folks? You know, make this as simple as possible. So it may be looking like something like, you know, something like, you know, something like this. You know, don't why do you have those shapes in there that kind of look like those guys? You know, make it as simple as possible. Yeah, maybe even something like that. There, you can maybe add like, you know, there. I think you did add that a little bit in there. Those, I think those are their footprints. But yeah, like over here, even though they have lighting on them, like, you know, show that you have lighting on them. You know, show that they are hit by light, like say here and here. Now they're actually hit by light, right? But then if they're hit by light this intense here, you know, have more of something here, and maybe have, you know, I'm not sure about branches, but maybe a few branches here and there, and maybe like have a little bit of like, you know, tree trunks, you know, also in there somewhere, so people understand that those are trees. Yeah, this is okay. I like that. But you know, there probably needs to be a little bit more. I think she needs to be pushed into the distance a little bit, and there has to be a little bit more of stuff in the background. But I like the lighting direction, and like I like what you're doing. It's very kind of mysterious and cool. But I also would have added more texture into the trees over here. I'm not sure if you bashed it in or not. I like the angles that you have here, and it's some kind of like weird, oh god is looking at her. And it's very threatening, everything is pointing at her. Yeah, this is a pretty solid composition that I like. Yeah, just, you know, push on, man. It's very stylized, very cool. Just needs a little bit more love in it. I think you got this. Yeah, here maybe you know, add some roots, you know, going to the crystal and to her, maybe like wrapping around the crystal, maybe. Like, why is she like, are those guys are running from something? Like if they're running, let's say if the story is that they're running to the crystal and they're trying to get it to like to save themselves, then maybe have like red eyes here and maybe the same silhouette, and those guys are running and have them like, you know, run. And then you can have very stylized, very long shadows here. And then here you can show that all of their friends are kind of like, no, being sucked out or picked up by this creature that is in the shadow. And she's trying to, you know, take the glow from the crystal, but she's short of it. And this guy is like, you know, I'm here now. Yeah, I'm not sure what the story in there yet, but it's pretty solid. Continue on. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to influence you too much with my own feedback. So, you do you. Man, we are not even 2/3 in. Okay. All right. Hello, Annie. Cool color balls. Very nice. I can see that you preserve local color. You think about the right things. So nice. Let's see about here. Very interesting. Very cool. All right, let's look at it a little bit more in depth. One thing that I notice about you, that you really like noisy images. You really are. But you're controlling it pretty nicely, in my opinion. But just a little like 2 cents of mine, because I was going through your Instagram the other day just to see what feedback I can give you today. Is you know, try to stay more simple, because for example here, right, you have a lot of noise here, a lot of noise here, and then you have them here. I would have placed those characters actually just, you know, let's see if I can, oh, come on, copy image. Okay, just imagine if, let's say, those guys are actually gonna be, no, you are really color picking the local colors in the shadow pretty correctly, but why you have a pretty nice contrast here, for example. Why not move them over there and just maybe, you know, have a few things in the foreground here, like for example, like a gate, if you want to. pointing towards them for more depth, because they're just gonna read better in here, or maybe somewhere here, right? And another thing is, again, try to simplify things, because there's so many. I really like that you are being very impressionistic, and there's like things to for the human mind to fill in the blanks, but really try to simplify everything into, again, simple shapes, simple forms, simple silhouettes, and then you already have the ability to make nice impressionistic marks that look good and cool, and they look like something from a distance. But make sure that you have something solid first to look at, and then everything else that you're going to keep impressionistic. Those are things to interpret. But for example, when you're thinking about when you're thinking about your complex thing, so for example, there's something complex over there, and it reads as nothing, what you can do is you can have some kind of like silhouette in the front that is very defined, and you can see what it is, and you're gonna really like do all of the details in that silhouette. So what human mind is gonna do is he's gonna read this defined thing that I haven't defined yet, and it's gonna replace all of the this with something defined here. So I know you really like going abstract, so what you need to do is you need to learn how to make the same abstract shapes into something solid with a form that can be read as something, and then everything else here is going to be read as as this thing. But overall, I really like this really much, and I like that you also kind of like color picking, making some gestural kind of graphic shapes here and there. It's really cool, and you are blocking everything in, and it's really nice and cool. But again, like what is all of this? It's really cool, impressionistic color temperatures, and you're really good with color, and I love it, right? But then you need to make sure that you're not also being like, I like that you're very brave with all of that, but also you need to make sure that you can simplify everything to one readable shape that people can understand. Like, for example, I deducted that, or deduced that this is a woman that is speaking to them, but she's not defined enough, right? Like her eyes, like make more defined shapes. You're really good with color, you have depth, you're a pretty strong artist, right? But again, like for me, like this needs to be like maybe like something like this, for example, so the eye is more readable, right? And then maybe the other eye is more readable. So everything needs to be super simple, so if you look from far away, you understand what it is, right? I have no other feedback than that. And then your time of day variations are pretty great and cool, and I love them a lot. Yeah, and I like that you thought about your highlights and you did a color strip for it. Yeah, super nice and super solid. Yeah, I like it a lot. Just again, be careful with detail. All right, let's see. Daria, I appreciate the original keyframe. Not sure if it's clear what's going on. The second one with the magical head, maybe before they move it all. Action between 2 and second is visible. Okay, let's see. We're going from right to left. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, there's some. Okay, the wolf needs to be more defined. Right now he is. I see you are maybe using some kind of interesting brushes. They're very textural, but again, I'll talk about this a little bit later. And then again, the wolf is freed up. I'm not sure. The compositions are nice. I would probably flip this, going from left to right. There's an interesting rule in cinematography or in storytelling in general. It's when basically it's when a character is going from left to right, he's going from a known location to unknown, from home to something else. But if he's going from right to left, he's returning to a familiar place and doing something, right? I have no idea where that comes from. Maybe it's because most of us read books from left to right, or we'll look left first and then we'll look right. I have no idea, but for the most part, if the character is returning from left to right, he's going into unknown place, and from right to left, he's returning back. So if you look at, for example, the movie The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, they're always going to be, for the most part, not always, moving from left to right, and then when they're returning back, they're going from screen right to screen left. And just a little tip. Yeah, with this one, well, first of all, like your composition here, you have all of the things on the right side. So now your composition is unbalanced. So I would have either balanced it out with the panda here, and then they will be connected by this, thing. And another thing that I would have done is I would have, there's not enough, again, there's not enough space or value range for something to glow in this painting. So I would have, I would have made that there's like those giant lilies, and those giant lilies are probably gonna be, hit by the light from the top, maybe something like this, but the rest is gonna be like hidden in shadows. Yeah, something like this. And then they're something like this, and then there's some lilies in the background also, right? And I would really maybe would have emphasized that this statue is hit by the light, from the top, something like this maybe, and it's super special and nice. And then you would have had a value range if you could have, like, just darkened the whole thing like this maybe, right? And the only moment where everything's hit by the light is over here. Sorry, it's a little bit rough, but hopefully you understand the idea. And then you can have the panda over here. That's gonna be, I'm probably gonna miss the local color completely, but let's see, let's say that he has the staff, and he's holding it. I know this is weird, but bear with me, right? And then now we can have, some kind of a, magical force going towards the thing, for example, right? And then we can have some more foreground elements. Yeah, it's just, and with this you can think about local color more, and then you just have more, more space to do fun things in this thing, right? And then the panda is usually, the panda is white, right? The local color of the panda is white. So you just have, I know this looks like a skeleton, sorry, but you can have a much better time if you had a different value range for this panda. So something like this. And because you have things glowing, you need something dark on top of all of that to make it extra glow, right? Like I would even do the whole multiply trick, to make sure that you have the value range to make sure that things are really glowing, and stuff like that. Like, I know this is a creepy scene. This is a creepy scene, but what I'm trying to tell you is this: you don't have enough of a value range in here to make this thing glow, right? So you need to either make those things bigger all across, and that's what I would have done maybe. And then behind the thing where he is like doing this, you need to have this so it pops out more when he does it, right? But I also would have done is, I would have darkened some of the things here. Yeah, and then if I was you, I would have just darkened this whole thing here. I know you want to have like this beautiful waterfall type of a thing, but I would have just covered everything here, yeah. And then with the wolf scene, right? With the wolf scene, like just squint. I don't see the wolf. I know you have the contrast color there, but I would have, again, this is a checkerboard value range. I would have either made the wolf like popping from, you know, the smoke that he's evolving. So maybe have smoke behind him and wrapping all around him or something like that, or have the moon shining behind the wolf to pop him out. Yeah, and this is pretty nice and cool, but for example, colors have to be bright and cheerful here, so I would go more towards oranges and yellows in this one. So it's a really bright one. So I would have maybe something like this, and then on top of that, I would have maybe, you know, added something like this, and then this was, and then I would have added, you know, highlight colors, and then, you know, so it's very nice and cheerful versus that there's too much green and all of that, you know, and then maybe on top of all of that, we're just gonna have like a lot of, you know, a lot of saturated orange or something like that, because this one is gonna be like really cheerful and brightful, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is really sad, and it should be a nice moment because he freed his friend. But it's a nice story and it's nice thinking. You're on the right track. Good job at making over those mistakes, because that is really good. Those are really good mistakes to make, and now when you're gonna fix them, you're gonna be on the right track. So good job. All right, August students, keyframes and some exercises. Feel free to critique the heck out of them. Helps me out a lot. All right, cool. I would say this is a little bit lazy because you have the same shot. You have the same shot and it doesn't count. But nice color strip. I like this. Interesting. He's trying to, you know, about to hunt the beast in epic chase. Okay, I like that. But is this the beast like an ethereal something? He becomes hypnotized by the color and shape of the beast. All right, so if this is the beast, oh man, stupid Discord. So if this is the beast, you know, but he doesn't. It doesn't. I don't understand that. That's what he got hypnotized with. So if we want to really hypnotize something, we need to show that this thing is like right in front of him. It looks at him and it's kind of like doing some kind of like wavy crap to like kind of like woo, and maybe has like a hypno thing on its beak or something. He's kind of like woo, you know, and maybe you can have like something like this. I'm not sure. And then he's reminded of the pearl he gave his love, lost life, he gave his long lost wife. Okay, and then okay, sure. Again, contrast. Like she's not contrasty enough to pop from the top. Like it's really shiny. I'm sure you probably wanted to have some kind of like flashback looking colors. I really like how this looks, very stylized and interesting, right? And here he's like, yeah. It's a weird story, man. I don't really know what's happening completely. I know that he's like, come on here. He gets hypnotized. And then he starts crying because he remembers his old. Like, I would say that, you know, in this shot, I would be like, if you look at the camera, I would have did something like this. He's like, honey, come home, or something like that. That's the siren. And he's like, you know, he's crying, maybe smiling at the same time. And in the last shot, we can show that, you know, the creature is about to swallow him, for example, and he like walks into the mouth. I don't think this is enough frames to explain everything that's going on with the flashback, you know. Yeah, so I would do something with that. I'm not sure what exactly, but something is missing. But overall, you're on the right track, I think. Then here you did some color studies, good. Context, overall, nice. You understand what's happening. Color balls, they're okay, maybe. Yeah, they're okay. Okay, good job. Yeah, just, you know, just make the story, you know, clearer, because it doesn't really, like, it looks like the girl has, you know, you can mimic the same shine, but it looks like he's seeing the woman in the beast or something like that, and then he has a flashback, and then he goes back, and he's like, "Are they dead?" And I'm not sure what he's like, just holding his fist up. He's like, "Did he get the pearl back? Did he like?" I'm not sure. There's a lot of not good misunderstandings in this story. Yeah, so it needs to be clearer. But overall, very nice. Recoloring the keyframes. Okay, cool. A D2 version for the frame, sunset and foggy ones. Okay. Let's open them up. Ooh. Come on, load up. Sorry. My internet is kind of lagging a little bit. Lewis? Are you downloading something? Are you downloading something? Okay. Can you use your mobile phone for playing Sea of Thieves, please? Because my stream is lagging just a little bit. All right. Nice. Very detailed. Very cool. Very nice. Just please use your mobile phone internet.
I'm not using Wi-Fi.
You're playing Sea of Thieves, no? Just use your mobile phone for playing Sea of Thieves.
Do you need my phone?
No. It's back on. It's back on. It's fine. All right. The journey begins. Cool. Nice. You still can play Sea of Thieves. Just do it through your mobile phone, please. Maybe it's just the file that almost killed my internet. Who knows? I gotta tell you one thing. You're mixing, like for example, your environment is technically real life, but then your characters, for some reason with your characters, you're having a hard time. So let's just take, I'll take this, you know, the ghost one. Or I mean, not the ghost one, but the foggy one. One thing they're gonna tell you that's gonna be kind of interesting because it's fine to do, but your characters in the foreground, to appear in the foreground, they're standing on their knees. Because if we look at this, yeah, if we look at this, if we look at this perspective, there's no way that they're standing with their full, you know, with their full length. So I would have, you know, I would have did something like this so they can actually stand fully in the shot, and then they're gonna be here, not below, but above them. So this way we can look here, and then we can look down. Another thing that I need to understand is, again, simplify everything to simple shapes. You color picked the right temperatures, 100%, but you didn't, you know, you didn't define form. So maybe you are kind of aiming for this comic booky style, right? But for example, if we have a diffused lighting, you know, we're still gonna have, you know, a little bit of form defined in their faces, right? And then we're gonna still have some form in their hair. Like there's gonna be, you know, there's gonna be a shadow underneath the nose, and then, you know, and then same thing with, you are very attached to your line work, and I'm not sure if it's really a good thing. So I would really, now she kind of looks a little bit dead, sorry I did that, but you understand the main thing that I'm talking about. Yeah, maybe let's just, you know, get some more life into her so she's not so dead. But it's defining form, because even in a diffuse lighting, you're still gonna have a little bit of form here. You might have a little bit of form here, you know, same thing here, because don't just cover everything just with flat colors. You know, same thing with this thing. Just like the best thing to do is just, you know, get rid of your line work and then see how everything looks just with flat colors without the line work on. If your thing is still readable with, you know, it's just probably gonna be in the shadow like this. If your thing is still readable just with flat colors, that means you're good. And if not, that means you're in trouble. Right? That means you're relying too much on the flat colors. And another thing that you're including too much detail in the foreground. Like there's so much detail, you're zooming all the way in, but learn how to simplify. Like learn how to just, you know, this thing would just be, you know, it's just gonna be this. There's not gonna be all those things visible in there. The farther away the object goes, simpler it becomes, right? So yeah, so think about that. And another thing is like you only have this one, you know, spotlight, but the thing is add it everywhere because it looks weird when it's just in one place. Add it in different places too, so it's more organic looking. Like yeah, but overall you're on the right track. I really like what you're doing. I like what you tried to do here. I want you to think more like this than just line work, because especially here the sunlight is coming over here, and if you just knew, like if you just did this as a color ball, for example, right, you picked all the right colors but you didn't do the right planes, right? So for example, this thing is, let's say, is the head of the character. Like on the right, she's gonna have a highlight color just like on her hand or here, you know. It's going to be something like, you know, something like this. But I need to see those things being implemented. Like here, like her entire face is going to be probably something like this, right? Because it's closer to us. And then she's probably going to have, you know, those highlights on the side of her face. And then she's gonna have shadows as the shadow of her side, right? So this is more defined and more, you know, more real life like. Yeah, same thing here. I like that you did everything in terms of value, but like for example, the trees, they're gonna be darker, right? If they're in the darkness, right, then you can work on those guys and you can add. So always think about those color balls and how they would interact in your environment. And if you are lacking, you know, the real sense of lighting, go and find the real reference, copy the context, and then put the characters in there. Yeah, but that's my 2 cents. But overall, I see you improving, and thank you so much for changing the compositions in your environments too. I think when you're following the feedback, I think it's getting better and better. So yeah, but one step at a time. It's you have pretty complex keyframes, and the environments itself that you did, they're very, very complex. So you did great. And some bubbles. Cool. Nice. Very nice. Good job. Right, we need to kind of go faster because we're already been here for 2 hours. All right, Bukuro. Oh boy, let's go. All right, same thing. I gotta say the same thing to you, my boy. Let me stretch a little bit. Oh. Are you guys still alive? Am I still streaming? I need to see. Yeah. Hey, CR. Poor Misha. It's alright. It's alright. I did this to myself. Ah, boy. Alright. So, first thing first. Good job on, you know, adjusting everything and putting everything in perspective. I think you're improving a lot. But again, here, think about your local color. So the boy itself, if I understand this is the night. So if it's the night, you have a lot of muddy colors behind, and those guys, you know, like they're just a formless blah of something. So either make them dark, you know, like this, for example, and if they have torches, have, you know, have. I did paint over on this exact thing for you, man. Just use that. And then add, you know, some cast lights onto them from the torches. Because another thing, man, that you have to understand is everything has form. Right now, this doesn't have anything, right? So if you want to, you know, keep everything ambiguous, or, you know, or in the dark, what you can do is, well, you can do it graphically. So what you can do is you can just paint the light, for example, let's say like this, and then there's going to be like, you know, faces, you know, reflecting to the light, a few, you know, forms here and there reflecting to the light. Maybe if you want to keep everything, you know, in the dark, and then everyone else is kind of like a mystery. In this way, you can do it graphically what you're trying to do, and then the only thing there's going to be at front is the shaman, maybe, you know, that is lit by the back, but he also has to be lit by you know, by the moonlight somehow or something. Because what you have to understand, man, is that everything has form, and then if you don't understand value in form, you cannot do color and light, right? So you have to imagine everything as simple shapes, simple spheres, simple squares, and then just light them up, right? So for example, you have the context in here. So if you have the shaman, what's the shaman's local color? So if it's a ball, you know, he's gonna have like a white mask. You know, on the other side, it's gonna be something like, you know, something like this. But on the other side, he's hit by, let's say, a yellow light or an orange light. You can do something like this, right? So now what you can do is you can just copy this, you know, have his mask, you know, half of it is like in the shadow, and then the other half is hit by, let's say, a light, you know. Then you can think about, well, how does my red cloak is gonna, you know, reflect or you know, react to all of that. And again, like for example, his vocal colors here, he's all brown, but there's the moon shining, right? And then the skin is basically pinkish white, right? So for this character, so what he's gonna do is, you know, he's gonna probably become something like, you know, something like this for his local color of his skin, something like this, not so dark as you made it, right? And then there's gonna be some, you know, there's gonna be some bounce light coming from the sky itself on his areas where they are turned towards that. And I did the exact same paint over last time I give you feedback, right? So please do pay attention to that. And then if there's gonna be like a little bit of like maybe like some moon shining, you can have a little bit of that in there, and then some grass reflecting to, you know, to the moonlight in the middle of them, right? So see, here's the difference, right? Just preserve the local colors, even though if it's in the you know, if it's in the dark environment. And if you want, you can get, you know, somewhere at the bottom or someone on the ground, there's going to be like maybe a torch lit up. So what you can do is you can actually, like, you know, have some bounce light from underneath, and maybe there's going to be some light over here. Because understand that we can technically place the light bulbs anywhere we want to make the character pop out and reveal its local color. Yeah, so yeah, same thing here, right? So you have local colors of this kid, and I really like how you did the environment in the context of the environment, right? But try to do the same thing, right? So you have the dragon, who is kind of like whitish something, and then you have a pretty warm light coming from the left, I think, right? Something like this maybe, right? I'm just judging by the skin color of the kid, but then you're gonna have a lot of bounce light. Where from? Well, from the trees and everywhere. So for example, here, 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 right? So simplify everything into the simplest form, right? With his skin color, right? It's gonna become more what you call it, cold, not cold, but colder in the environment, because it's not shining onto the onto the light itself, right? And then maybe we just can do something like this, and then something like this, and then his color of his hair, right? You're losing his local color because they're kind of like brownish, right? So do not go towards yellows, have a more saturated but a little bit bright brown. Yeah, so always, like, that's why I told you guys, just figure out context in an environment through through references, and then you can just insert color balls in there and then find the local colors and then just put it in. This one is a little bit more tricky. Why? Because you are painting with overlay for light, and then the skybox looks just a little bit weird. The sunset colors usually are something something like this, and then the mountains are gonna become the color of the of the sunset. And then if you're gonna have the sunset behind, it's gonna be something like something like this maybe, and if you're gonna have some other things here, but then you'll have to adjust everything else. So for example, here, those trees are probably going to be dark purple green maybe because of the environment itself. Again, it's really hard for me to for me even, I need to find reference first, and then again, like, what are we exposing for? Like, you have this top all right, like behind lighting. Like, if I was you, I would probably would just even do this first, just change everything like this, and then I would have had the sun going like this to actually have the sun shining, and then changing everything around, and then everything is going to be the rim light in here, even though some of it isn't impossible. But I think the lighting here is a little bit wrong, because what you're trying to do, you're trying to shine on those guys. So I would have made the lighting going from the right side, somewhere from here into here. And also I would have made the creature bigger, because the thing is, remember when I told you about framing? When we're talking about framing, we need to show what? We need to show the action, and your action is somewhere in here, right? Or it's not clear enough that this creature is, holding this or protecting this or doing something here, right? So the action is here, so, move the camera closer, and then maybe move the guys closer so the creature is bigger and the framing is the correct framing. Yeah. I'll make CR a mod. Add moderator, and maybe I'll add another moderator. Who wants to be a moderator? Marco, you'll be the new moderator, because yeah, we have moderators in. So yeah, those are my 2 cents. Keep your local colors, more reference, and framing. Again, for example, here you have so much really weird and free space that is not used by anything. Why not have the character standing in the middle, for example? Yeah. So, but again, I saw where you started. It's a big improvement from where you started. So again, those are mistakes that I congratulate you on, and those are awesome mistakes. Please make more. Good job, guys. All right. This week is completed with a code inventory, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. All right. You did some cool, awesome studies. Awesome. Nice. Cool. Love those. Simple and great. Color balls complete. Haha. All right. Okay. Ouch. Okay. Let's start with this one, Aster. Oh man. Did I already do 5 in depth? I really want to give everyone their justice. So one thing I'm gonna give you this, Aster. So sometimes your contrast and values are too far apart, and what I mean by that is when you have a dark and you have a super light in the foreground, and then you have a light and a super dark in the middle ground, and then you have a light and a super dark in the foreground. And remember when I told you full value range is bad in a painting? That's the same thing. Yeah, so basically what you need to do is make sure that your contrasts are controlled. So like I will just do this, and then on top of that I can just go back in and, you know, adjust the values for them to be darker if needed, you know. And then same thing for the hand, and then thing like over here, right? And then same thing for the hand here. So it's clear value separation. And then another thing is that, you know, so we have those 2 dark objects, and another thing is like I would have just, you know, I would have had his hand popping out as much as possible, you know, and make sure it's visible. And then the second thing that is going to be, you know, the darkest dark, it's probably going to be her hair. Or in terms of saturation, I'll just do her hair. So I will just do a little bit like this, and then something like this, because you have pretty intense white light. And I'm sorry, I'm not giving the justice to the forms yet, but also needs to be volumetric, so the light is coming onto her. Another thing, you are losing, you know, the local colors of this lady a little bit. So again, simplify everything into, well, again, for you it's a little bit complex because you have, you know, you have your it's a line work piece type of a deal, right? But even in line work, I would just, you know, have some gradients and get something like this maybe. Like it was a really flat, like flat coloring, and flat coloring is not really, it's not really good. Like try to avoid pure white in general, at least you're going super stylized. So for example, like one thing that I would recommend you doing, keep your line work layer, and then to see if your colors are working, you know, take your line work layer and then fill in with, so for example, if this is the color of your hair, take the line work layer, and then, well, this is the color, and then take your line work layer and then, you know, just fill it in with a color like this, of a darker shade of this thing. Same thing here, right? But for the most part, yeah, so as you can see here and here, this is a little bit harder on the eyes, this is a little bit easier on the eyes, but I don't have the time to repaint the whole thing. Just again, keep your value separation simple, and then with your like brightest brights, like you can, so if I was you, and then if you want to keep the brightest brights, then you would have had to change the, you know, the value range here. So you would have had probably to, you know, make everything dark in here, like almost like this, to make this work, right? And then you would have had to, you know, keep his hand or something like that, maybe with like a gradient or something like that, like this maybe, and that could have worked, right? But you have this value range. Why? I have no idea, because you have her lit up, and then you want to have also light behind. It's so you need to choose one or another and make sure you know what you're what your value separation is, and then go from there on. Yeah, this one is a little bit better and more simpler. You still need something in the background because right now this is too boring. And I would, I would really have fun with some bounce light in this one. Why? Well, because this is a little trick for you guys. When you have everything in the shadow and there's no light, make sure that you have some bounce lights, shining into the shadow as a fill light somewhere. So the shot just can look a little bit more exciting because what we're gonna look like, we're gonna look inside of the silhouette here. All right. So why not add extra fill light, let's say, or bounce light from here, and this is more intense now, and maybe a little bit of also maybe a little bit of fill light from the top, from the sky, for example. So there's more things happening in the shadow than just nothing in terms of color and color variation. All right, we really need to speed up, but good job, Esther. Very, 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 very nice. All right. Okay, 3 frames couldn't finish. Study of film done. Spheres done. Okay. Dun dun dun. Nice. This looks much better than whatever I saw before that. This is blocked in and this is blocked in. I like the color progression. You're on the right track. Just continue on. Nothing to say. I don't want to paint for you. Good job, Dora. Okay, Hurt Magna. Very nice, cool. I like the blocking of the local colors. As you can see, probably working with overlay and multiply. Probably. This looks like it. Very fast and nice. Cool. Let's see if I could add anything else besides that. I gotta tell you this one thing. Those guys are green and everything is green and this bike is green. So this bike doesn't really like a bike. I'll just make him red, complementary to everything else. The same thing here. You have lots of greens. This bike just disappears. So I would just change it to yellow or green so it pops from far away. Because it is, I think it's the wrong hue. Yeah. And then, yeah. Maybe, just maybe, add more color variation into your flats. Like for example, you have this brown over here. It's just brown. You have a little bit of blue in it, right? But I would add like maybe a little bit of oranges or purples into it. So there's a little bit of a gradient and a little bit of a hue shift. So it's more interesting to look at. Like for example, here you have some cool value ranges and saturation and vibrancy in terms of color here. But also another thing is like you'll have a lot of vibrancy in the shadow area, for example here. So add a little bit of that, because when you have some flats here, usually when we have like a very harsh and powerful lighting, there's the highlights is where things are boring, but then the midtones and then shadows, that's where all the fun happens in terms of color variation, saturation, and vibrancy. So yeah, pay attention to your halftones and to your shadow areas and to your color accents. Again, this bike is all, it's lost. Another thing is you can really amp up your bounce light game. For example, here you have some bounce light, but I would experiment a lot with like, amping it up like 100 million percent. With your color balls, super nice. I know you understand how things work. Super great. The only thing is like here, sometimes maybe you are losing the local color a little bit, but for the most part, you understand how this thing works. So all good. All right, Lera, try to make intermediate frame between keyframes so there was a concurrence for the story. Okay, those are frame studies. Very nice. Good job. Very nice. I can see that the color strip. Ooh, I like that. Very nice. Very vibrant colors. I love it. I love it a lot. Yeah, I like how simple you went with it. I have no comment. It's very nice color harmonies. I really love what you're doing here. Just continue. Please just finish it. It's super nice. I have nothing to say besides that you're on the right track. I wish I could take credit for all of that, but I know that you already knew how to do a lot of those things. And perfect reference also. I like that you really thought about reference and really stuck to them when you did your things, but you picked it at the right, yeah, you picked the right reference. Okay, bow exercises, cool. All right, Marco, I'm just gonna tell you one thing. Remember when I talked about a half-sucked lollipop? You lost the local color of purple here just by, this entire thing is wrong. Why? Because you just went with an airbrush and then just brushed over the color ball instead of finding the in-between color and maintaining the local color. And it's really important. This is a half-sucked lollipop, not good. But again, good job for attempting. Right, Nico, Ballerweek Budalinks. I completely remade my previous scheme from week 3 as I'm now flashing out the story in more detail. Okay, cool. This is nice. He's like, my world is dying. He goes underneath. Okay. And he battles a spider, I think. I'm gonna tell you one thing, just, you know, spend more time with them. I know you can do better layouts. Oh, sorry. Right. And then night, and then cool, different time of day. I know you probably had a pretty busy week and you can do better layouts, but in terms of, like, for example, here it can be more terrifying, and then the composition could be better. Like, again, him, little Spankadoodle, standing in a cave and looking like at the giant spider, and then the color palette can be like more threatening and red maybe. But I like that you're thinking about rim light and everything else. Color balls, nice. You did the time of day. Yeah, I can see that those are rushed because I know that you can do better. But you know, you did it anyways, even though your week was really hard. So good job. But you can do better, Nico. I know that. And I know this is not your best work. So I'm expecting. So when you come back to it and you rest good, you're gonna do epic shots, and then you're gonna finish your story to the best ability that you have. Because I know you like this little carrot man. All right, Batsy. I painted 3 cans, first meaning on the characters and color. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Cool. Nice. I'm gonna tell you one thing. Your frames are very, I'd say they lack a little bit of contrast. So again, add contrast where it's needed so you can pop things more. So darken, let's say, the environment around the character, around the ghost, because he's hit by the ghost's light, right? Same thing here. You can have more dramatic shadows here, and the same thing, you have more drama here, and just make everything darker. Color balls are fine for the most part. Okay, good job. Hey, we're halfway through. Good job. Right, Graham. Okay, hello. Here's some stuff. I would make browns and yellows much brighter in this one, because we're starting pretty bright and pretty interesting, right? And then this guy had like a dark superpower secret, right? So first of all, I would make this more contrasty like this, and then secondly, to add a little bit more of saturation to things, and I can just go with an overlay layer and just, you know, just pop some things out so you have more of a, you know, bright colors, and so it's really pops. And then here you can have a little bit of a yellow, right? But then again, you can have a little bit of a, you know, darker spots where you don't need to pay attention to, and then, you know, emphasize the things. And another thing they're going to tell you, you know, push the background behind the character so he reads more. So it's something like this, yeah. But overall, very nice. I can say that it's the same feedback for all the other frames. Is that just, you know, emphasize what you need to do. Like here, you can make it more blue, for example, right? Here, you can make it a little bit more red, and you can have more of a highlight on the character here. And here, you can have the silhouette of this guy more, you know, and have the red, you know, even pop even more if you need to, but emphasize the silhouette in here. But you're on the right track, Graham. Very nice. All right. 1 second. I got a message. People are reminding me to play Fall Guys, but I am resisting because I am I am with you guys. It's a Viking Misha time. So yeah, good job, Graham. All right, cool. This is not really super correct. Because the lighting is coming from the top right, as we can see by the shadows, and here for some reason the ball is lit by top left. Maybe because there's something shining here, I'm not sure. Look how other people did the things. Okay, one keyframe will update more soon, working on that. The keyframe looks like all over the place right now. Help Misha. Okay, hello Mayhem. So again, value. People, for some reason, people's brain just shuts down when they go into color. But I gotta tell you guys, there's no difference between color and value especially when you start out. You know, you really need to think about your black and whites, because if we're gonna do this guy, like, nothing reads, because you mistake saturation for value, right? But this thing is all over the place because your values are all over the place. So if we turn this into black and white, for example, right, something needs to be darker, something needs to be brighter. So for example, we either have a choice to make this, you know, dark against light, right? And then maybe this sky behind this guy is gonna be, you know, let's just make contrast, yeah. And then the sky behind this guy can be like, you know, super bright. And that's where the sunset is gonna be happening, for example, right? Or we can do the opposite way. We can make the back of it super dark. So for example, if we would have just did, you know, some things with overlay and just try to make it sunsetty, right? I know this will look bad, but again, I'm running out of time. So the main thing that I want you to keep in mind is this, right? If you have sunset colors or sunset anything, or honestly any painting, like, why is this rock, oh, this is his, I guess he's him standing. So again, what's his local color? What's the context? His local color is white, but he's standing in the shadow because the sunset is behind him, right? And if he's standing in the shadow, that means what? That means he's gonna take, for the most part, the color of the environment because he's white, right? His local color is white, right? And then his hands, you know, they're also kinda in the, you know, they're also kinda in the shadow, and they're also influenced by the light. The same thing with his face. The same thing with his, you know, with his hat, and then underneath his hat, right? It's just gonna be much darker, right? And then behind him, you know, okay, well, we want sunset colors, so let's give us some sunset colors so he pops on top of them, because sunset colors are usually something like this, right? And then we're gonna have some water, but the water is probably gonna be reflecting, for the most part, the sky, right? And again, reference. I can bet you my my right ball that you didn't have any reference pulled up, because again, with correct reference, you can do anything, right? And then we can have some you know, some things here, and then we can have this, and then we can have a little bit of a shadow of him here, and then we can have, you know, what should we call it, this. And then we're gonna have his, what was it, like a sword or something that he's preparing to draw out, you know. And then we can have a little bit of occlusion things, and then we can have this, and then maybe we can have more of a highlight on things that reflect more of the light there. And then maybe we can have a little bit of a fake bounce light on his face here, just for color variation. And then here, maybe we can add the sun itself. You know, if we really want to, we can add a little bit of this, and maybe we can do this. Yeah, and if we want like more rocks or something, or more things standing in the background, like, you know, as he's on the field, we can do that with this. All right, you understand? Capiche? Context, value, local color. You know, this guy is a little bit too purple for my taste. You know, like I would probably make him something like, you know, something like, maybe something more level like this. And saturate it so it's more accurate, you know. But you get the main thing. So hopefully this was helpful. Oh, I closed my stream for some reason. I hope I'm still streaming. Yeah, I'm still streaming. Good. That's on my watch. What happened? Did someone get banned? Or did we get attacked about with a Mexican adult websites again? But oh, okay. I was kind of getting excited. Maybe someone was like defending my honor or something. Okay, Shamanek. Really cool paintings. I really like. But like, for example, if you want it to be, you know, more intense in terms of like the lighting, here's me just using an overlay layer on top of everything. And I can feel that you're a little bit afraid to go too far with your values to actually sell, you know, your lighting in here. And don't be afraid. You can try different things here and there. And then also what you can do is you can make the contrast, and you can make things a little bit darker here if you want to convince that or convey that it's kind of like a sunset type of a day, you know. But you're on the right track. And the same things that I can tell you for the exactly all the other things, you're afraid to go too bright, and you're afraid to go and experiment more. So for example here, you know, his cow is basically being taken, so, you know, don't be afraid, really, you know, emphasizing it, and then, you know, really having the rim light here, and then the light, you know, going all over the place, and then maybe it's not going to be so, you know, like this. It's going to be more volumetric like this. And again, you know, classic movies, if it's volumetric under the cow, there's going to be none of that. Yeah, but overall nice. And same thing I can tell you about all the other frames. You're just too afraid to, oh my god, what did he do? He killed the aliens by stashing dynamite inside of a cow and then blowing it up to pieces. Oh my god. I am waiting for the last frame then, when it just goes poof, and then the guy is just standing and he's like all in guts, you know. Oh my god, that is pretty brutal, man. Yeah, I did not see this turn of event. Did he, like, how did he do it? Did he have like a dynamite attached to his pitchfork, and then when he throws the pitchfork at the cow, you know, it sticks, or he waits for more abductions or something like that? I don't know, but good job, man. Yeah, just, you know, intensity of the light, put it back. You know, use an overlay or burn and dodge, just look how it looks. But you already are doing everything correct in terms of blocking, you know, your local colors. Now it's just about, you know, emphasizing it and pushing it further. But you're doing a great job, man. I'm impressed that you can do it so well in 2D already. This is nice. I'm gonna tell you one thing. This is opposite problem actually. Here you're losing a lot of midtones, and you're losing a lot of your darks because you are putting just overlay a layer on top. And then it would be nice if you can just block in some of the local colors in the crowd. But I like what you did. You blocked in the local colors here, and you blocked in the local colors here, because that's your focal point, and the rest you're going to figure out later on. I know this is not finished, but you are on the right track. Very nice with studying film, color balls, next things. Nice. I love what you did already with planning your colors for accent colors, how it's going to be. Super nice. Glad it is helpful. Time of day, not big deal that you didn't do it. If you want to, you can. Okay, well, you tried. Actually, I thought that this was 3D at first in the beginning. I don't know why. It's actually pretty cool. I like it. Because you have a very wonky composition here in terms of that it's a it's a the perspective is correct and incorrect at the same time, so it has kind of this weird effect. I think you're on the right track, man, in terms of like trying different things. See, as long as your values work. I like one thing that you did here, that your values are working, and I want to compliment you on that. One thing that you can do is you can make your light a little bit more volumetric in terms of like this, but overall I like how it looks. Honestly, doesn't look bad to me. This looks weird though. That's what really really like knocked me out, because I was like, is this 3D or this is like origami, or did you make it everything traditionally and then put it on the top of a layer, right? Because for example here you try to do volumetric things, but what actually looks like, it's like you have an origami table, and then those are cutouts that you placed on a table, right? So for example here you're really good at thinking about silhouettes, so that's why it's pretty nice, but then you're not really good at figuring out what the form looks like. So this thing is a cylinder, right? So if you had the lighting coming from the left, and this was a cylinder and it was a white cylinder like this, so what would have happened is, well, this would have happened. So this thing would have had, light on it. This thing would have had a half tone in it, something like this, and then a shadow side, right? And then it would have looked something like this. Same thing with this thing, right? This thing, it's pretty ugly colors, I know, but it would have looked something like this, and the entire thing should have looked something like this, and then the background should have looked so flat, and the background should have been probably something like something like this maybe, and then if the background was something like this, you should have made the whole thing darker. So again, it all comes to reference and simplifying everything to simple form. The reason why this works is because there's no form or no light to reveal the form, because the light is in the background, and you kind of just did this, which kind of worked. You did think about form here, but for some reason you didn't think about form here. Overall, good job. You did some mistakes, but I think you're experimenting and making mistakes in the right track, so good job. You're not bad. You're going on the right track. Right, by miracle I have this homework done. I'm on holidays. Okay. All right. Kind of very Zach Ritz type of a style thing. I don't really understand Zach Ritz. What you call it? Value process. He's really good, but I have no idea why he thinks a certain way he does things. So it's not bad. I like it. Forms are there, silhouettes are there, main value ranges are there. Just continue. Needs some cleanup, but I like it. Very nice. All right, Gostini. Cool. You're on the right track. All the color harmonies are there. Time of days are also there. I would just add a little bit more complexity to the shot. Maybe some knife sticking out, or some texture of the wood here, and also some bounce light on the characters, and especially fill light on her face more, a little bit here and there, and some variation of saturation for color vibrancy within the silhouette. But I know that you know what you're doing, and you know what can be pushed further. You're on the right track, just needs a little bit more. Color balls also nice. All right, only main stuff this time, kept descriptions. Last time this friend didn't make it into the feedback session in time. All right, dormant echoes. red approaching, cool. So you have a little bit of it. I really like that she represented it like that. Red coming out of machine menacingly. Okay, cool. Corruption. This frame needs a little bit more exploration. Like, what did it touch? Did it touch this thing? Like, what is happening here? But I like that you're thinking about the color progression. Yeah, one thing, like, this thing needs more explanation. I think this is your main character, right? So maybe add another arm, I don't know. And what are those guys doing? And they're just, you know, just sitting around. Yeah, so this thing is approaching by the gate and he corrupts them. Maybe have one more frame when the things are like turning red or something. Yeah, but overall very nice. All right, Antonina. Made a new keyframe from scratch this week, starting straight away with colors with black and white. It's fun doing homework. Hey, cool. Nice, neutral colors, context. So nice, light source. Cool, very nice. You dissected your reference and you understand what's going on now. Cool. Same thing here, very nice. Hopefully now it's much helpful to you. And colors put in the environment, very nice, cool. Cool, very nice, very nice. I can tell you this, you do lose a lot of local colors when you doing your own frames. It's not particularly bad. Maybe add like maybe another highlight color here, maybe a torch or something, some maybe redness, so you don't have two monochrome paintings one next to each other, you know. This is a pretty hardcore. She's like reading a midnight story, or he's reading a midnight story to his child, and then kaboom, you dead. Yeah, not cool. Poor orc. But very nice. All right. Optional studies, cool. Nice. Nice. Yeah, he runs away because time of day, cool. Again, with nothing can shine in dark in a super light, so again, light has fall off. So in here you can make a gradient here, you can have it darker. You also can have the sky darker. Don't be afraid to push things. Just it's really easy. Just put it on a multiply and darken everything down. Color ball is nice, very nice. All right, let's see. All right, RC Radio. I'm not gonna feedback this because this is wrong homework for the wrong channel. This is not the. I'm sorry, I have to delete this, but this is the wrong channel for the wrong homework. Yeah, I'm really glad you're catching up, but all right, I'm not gonna delete it, but you know, move it to the character design week. Right now we're in keyframes. Yeah, but it's pretty nice. All right, poor Colleen. If no one knows, her keyframe got deleted. I really like what you're doing with, I would say, fake rim light here. There's a lot of things for you to learn, guys. Like, she is lying in a good way here. Like, for example, she has the light here, and it's intense enough to have a rim light on the characters, to highlight them, to look at them, but doesn't have the same highlight on, let's say, on a chair or on the floor, just to keep the value range and contrast only for the characters. I'm gonna add a few cents. Maybe it would be nice to have a little bit of highlights here, here, and here. Same value or maybe a little bit lower than them, so we can jump around the whole painting. Because right now my eye is stuck only on characters and nothing else. So it would be nice if you add the same value somewhere around this environment so my eye can be attracted to it and jump around and then return back to the characters. Because again, those browns are the most contrasty thing. It's bound to happen, and it's next to this super highlight white. So I would just, yeah, separate the white value from the window all across the entire painting, so it's not just so focused on those three characters. But nice thinking, and this is pretty good. You know, just add some color variation here. I know you are still working on this. I'm pretty sure you just threw an overlay layer on top and then added her because everything got deleted. And I'm sorry about that, but you know, you'll clean it up later on, I know. But it's solid. I love your work. Very nice. Very, very pleasing to look at. And I like that you have just enough detail and just enough simple and just enough complex things. And it's very, very cool. Very nice. Very nice. Good job. Very nice. Right, Vanya Zavorin. Okay, let's go. 2 hours and 40 minutes, man. Let's see where the deadline is. Whee! We're approaching. Okay. All right, we're almost there. Well, no, not even close, actually. You got this, Misha. You got this. You got these. Okay. Cool. Nice. Local colors are a little bit disappeared. I don't like that. Bring them back a little bit, especially in halftones. Then here, you're using a lot of white, a lot of color dodge and overlay. You don't know what your context in here is, what your local colors of things are. This is a little bit too all over the place. Yeah, so this needs to have more reference and more work on it. Like, what's the local colors of everything? Same thing here. You are shading everything with just a pure color, and then you don't know what your local colors in, what your context in, what the lighting setup is, what the sky looks like, what kind of world this is in. So it needs more reference. Yeah, so again, you get muddy colors because you don't think about your local colors and you don't know what your setup is, and then you start shading with black and white, and then you're going to be using like color dodge and overlay to make it look good, and then you kind of, you know, put it back with contrast, but it doesn't look as good color wise. The first one is really good, but all the other ones need some work on it. My best but color is difficult task for me. Yeah, here I can see that again, you know, Hector, it would be nice if you could have done real life studies or film studies to understand how everything works. Your line work is pretty good, but you need to have more reference. Like it doesn't work when you just do an overlay from left, an overlay from top, and something from here and there. You know, you just need to study real life. Sadly, there's not enough information in there for me to start, you know, feedbacking you because I have no idea what's going on in there. The only thing I can say, you know, rewatch the lectures and watch how other people do things. Angostura, okay. I have no feedback for this ones almost whatsoever. See if internet is holding up. One thing that I might say is like you can have more blue fill, and then you can have some more warm bounce, and also she's entirely under a tree. There's gonna be so much green bounce light all over this place. You have no idea. So please add that. I missed someone. Who did I miss? Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, hello. Usual gossip, cool. Nice. All right, so you have your main color things blocked in, but it's still work in progress. I'm gonna say you're on the right track. Just be careful controlling your purples, especially here. I see that you have a color plan in mind, but it needs to be pushed more. Your color balls are fine. Yeah, I took a look at them. Besides a few of them when you are losing the local color just by brushing over the ball, and that's not good. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna delete this one because it doesn't belong here. Sorry, radio. This is homework, something else. This is not week 8, this is homework 8, so it needs to be reposted. Try to keep things clean. All right, I like the second one. That's very comic book like, and I like the last one a lot, where her hair is glowing. I'm not sure if you're gonna keep it comic booky or you're gonna make it painterly. Yeah, really nice. Okay, Taidana Slava color ball's nice. Is this red? I think this is more pink. I think this is red. This is red and pink. This is orange. Yeah, I think this is red. Yeah, and then color studies from film. Very nice. Cool. Nice. Very simple. Okay, good job. Right, Mandarina. Okay, cool. Love the first one. You're on the right track. Nothing to say, honestly. Just start polishing them. Those are really good. Peggy. You're improving. You're improving with color. Everything not so muddy anymore. I think you're doing great. I'm gonna tell you this. The last one needs to be a little bit more, whatchamacallit, simple. Not so complex. It's loading right now. Like, for example, you have all of this. This is too noisy. And then she disappears on the background. So either make the background super pooper. That's me in the morning. I am a super pooper. I'm an omega pooper in the morning. Sorry. Cringe. Yeah, just make sure. Oh, it's the guy. Man, I didn't see this. Yeah, you need to make the silhouette of this guy much cleaner, because this is all, this is all a mush of things just merging into each other, and this guy is not readable. So make sure that it's much more readable. The other previous ones, I really like it. I like them a lot. I think you're improving. So good job. Tim. Film studies first. Cool. All right. Okay. Nice. One keyframe. No time. It's not bad. I like it. Just again, there's more room for shadow. Make sure that your light is clear where it's shining from, where it casts your shadows. Viking number 2. Don't disrespect, don't overestimate. What? What do you mean don't disrespect? What is going on in the chat? I have no idea what's going on. Yeah. I'm sitting uncomfortably. Okay. And the last study, lots of studies and nothing else. Why do you have so much time for studies and not enough for your own work? So, well, either way, you did something. That's good. Okay. Oh, the deadline. The stop sign. Thank you, Julie. All right. This is Midjourney for generating a lot of lighting scenarios. Okay, I gotta tell you this. The eye that you're using, whatever it is, I'm not sure what's it called. It's not really good for color and light because it's so detailed. It's very chaotic. It's not really good. See, you're even getting confused in terms of what is what. I would just go into movies and animation and do that. Yeah. I have no idea what's going on in the chat. All right, and then here, I think it's a lot of color and light studies. I don't know, it's not loading. Okay, nice. I like that you got the exposure right. I like the last bottom one that you did. All the other ones, they're very confusing. So make sure you find good reference addition to this reference. Yeah. And I gonna review Paulina because it was at the same time as she blocked it. So it's very nice, cool, hope, nice. Yeah, continue. You're on the right track. Yeah, and sorry for all the other one. You skipped me. Sorry. Okay. Cool. Nice. you're on the right track. Just, keep in mind whatever we talked about today. And yeah, I did it. Who's a real Viking? I'm a real Viking. I am the real Viking. I did it. 2 hours and 49 minutes. That's not my biggest feedback. I think my longest feedback was like 7 hours, but that's for people who actually signed up for paid color and light course. But still, I know a lot of schools have, even for paid stuff, they only have like 2 hours. So we did good. We did good. So what I tell you guys is, you guys are amazing. You did the homework, and if you do the homework, I know I should have kept my promise. They're only gonna do 5 people review it, whatever it was today. But you guys are doing a great job. I cannot not help myself, but reward good work with feedback because you guys deserve it. So I wanna really emphasize that good job on lots of failing today, because failing is good. Good job on making lots of mistakes today. I want to congratulate you how good you are at making mistakes and how furious you are at making mistakes. Please continue making mistakes so then you can get feedback and then change them up and fix them. Mistakes are great. You didn't do anything wrong by making them. Not quite the opposite. You made everything right. Mistakes are awesome, and you should continue doing them. I applaud you. Very nice. For people who made less mistakes, they were a little bit more, experienced, right? And I see a lot of progress, guys. Good job. I am proud of you. So yeah, there's no homework after this one. The nearest homework I'm just gonna give you a little disclaimer. What we're gonna continue doing from now on is continue working on our keyframes for the rest of next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's going to be keyframe 1 next week. For the whole week, you'll be just working on 1. It's going to be keyframe 2 the week after, and keyframe 3 the week after that. And then we're done. It's going to be awesome and epic. Yeah, and then we're going to have a graduation party. So yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for sitting through almost 3 hours. And yeah, I'm gonna go play some Fall Guys and relax because now I do deserve it. I earned it. Oh man, I can't wait where I can just go and start painting. I miss painting a lot. I don't have much time to do that because after lectures I'm pretty pooped. Yeah, but everyone, thank you so much for joining. You're the best. See you Monday. Hang around. And yeah, see you. Bye.